Good afternoon, everyone. This is Fiza Rizvi. I head as a regional head for the HDFC Securities business for the corporate channel for the West region. As promised in my last webinar with you, which was on the Indian markets, that we will be coming up with more such sessions. Today, here we come with on not only the domestic market, but one of the largest markets of the world, which is the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Once I read a very famous quote somewhere by a Fidelity fund manager, Mr. Peter Lynch. There will be downsides in the market. You will be seeing markets falling. But if you do not understand this thing, and if you're not ready to do this thing, if you're not ready to accept this thing, that means you are not ready to know about it. So you should be aware about what's happening in the market. So today, let's move on not Indian markets, which we covered on the last session. Let's move on the world's biggest market, which will be covered today, which is the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. So before I start on this thing, let me introduce to my speakers today. So about HDFC Bank, a brief about the zonal head of the corporate salary team by Mr. Manish Kumar, an old hand in the system who knows about HDFC Bank and its customers very well, what is required by them. So we'll have a little brief from Mr. Manish Kumar, followed by a venture capitalist and a well-known business who has done a lot of startups on e-commerce and built up a lot of businesses, is Mr. Subramaniam, who heads as a business head from the Stockel, which represents the US markets business in India. First, moving on to Mr. Manish Kumar to know about Little Bank, and then moving on to Mr. Kumar. So Manish, can you please take over?
Yeah, thank you, Visa. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Manish Kumar, Zonal Head Corporate Salary from HDFC Bank at Mumbai. It is my privilege and honor to welcome you all for this exclusive webinar, and I wish you all a good health. On behalf of HDFC Bank, please accept our sincere thanks to all our esteemed customers and to all our prospective customers. I wish to convey that being your current salary banker for all our salaried customers, we will continue to be a one-stop shop solution for all your banking needs, be it lending, investment with best ROI, and now investment even in the global market. And we assure you best of our services. And I'm sure that our dedicated key corporate salary managers are serving you well and your corporate. Now, just to give a perspective of today's webinar, which is on the US market and the way forward. So we all can relate this, with the subject and the relevance of the same in the today context also. US economy, which accounts close to 30% of the world's GDP, and there would have an impact of most of the global economy, variable. Impact on India's export to US, we have grown substantially over the years, and India economy, which is also, last session we have discussed in length about the Indian economy and how the various agencies and RBI are countering that between 1 to 2% of the points in the GDP growth, that the impact which we are seeing. India may remain relevantly less affected, that's my view, by adverse global event, as firms have started looking for other market like Europe and even other domestic market to spread their risk and reduce the impact of rising rupees. However, having said this, we all know the importance of the US economy, and in a nutshell, global market are witnessing the benefit of two primary factors. One is there is a remote chance of interest rates moving up from zero even till 2023 in US market, as indicated by Federal Reserve many times in the past also. And to be borne in the mind the fact that that second wave which we have witnessed in India, and also third wave which we are anticipating across the globe and for the India of COVID-19, may impact the economy further, and which means that the interest may not go up from here. And in fact, US Fed wants inflation to increase, which will bring back the growth in the economy. So having said this, I can recollecting a quote which we say is always, a penny saved is always worth 2 pennies earned. And now with a platform that we are having, that our customer can invest in the global and the US economy, US stock exchange, via our platform is something which I keep getting a good feedback about my corporates in this. And in today's session with our experts, we will explore various perspectives on US market, why we should be invest in that, and what should be the right strategy and how we can make best choices in our investment. So without taking much more time, so this is, I'm over to you, our co-panelist, Mr. Kumar Subramaniam, who is head of Stakel, and he will, take it over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Manish. Thanks for that nice introduction, and thanks for setting the context, by the way, in terms of how one thinks about investing both in the Indian context and in the US context. Very important for the audience to understand that first. And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session on global investing. While we say global investing, today's focus is largely going to be about US investing. We'll talk about US markets. We'll talk about why US markets are relevant. Everyone has heard the terms of companies like NASDAQ, NYSE, the exchanges, companies that are listed on these exchanges. We'll talk about why it's relevant to understand these markets, why start building a portfolio towards this. Then I'll talk about the global investing platform itself a little bit in terms of what we have tried to achieve through the platform and why it makes life easy for someone who's looking to globally diversify their portfolio. We'll have the last 15-20 minutes for Q&A. So any questions that you may have, any thoughts that you may have, you want to share, just make a note of it. There's a separate box on the webinar panel which will tell you to type in your questions. Please do type it in there as these questions come along. We'll answer all the questions towards the end of the session. So let me start off by setting the context for why we are talking about US investing. I hope you're all able to see my slides. I do have a few slides for reference. I'm going to run by those slides, but largely have a conversation with you more than making it a PowerPoint presentation, which we've seen enough of. So largely the context is that even for the last 15-20 years, if you look at it, right, RBI has allowed every Indian individual to remit and invest up to $250,000 annually through its LRS scheme. LRS stands for Liberalized Remittance Scheme. So RBI allows this for every Indian individual. Now, a lot of Indian individuals are either not aware of this scheme, or even those who are aware have not been able to take full advantage of this scheme because they don't have an investment vehicle, which is very easy to use, which is very customer friendly to use, which is exactly what we have tried to do through this global investing platform. We've built a digital platform that will help investors leverage RBI's LRS scheme and build a globally diversified portfolio. Now, Manish spoke about a lot of macro trends. One trend we do see from an Indian perspective is if you look at the outward remittances in the last 5 years, right? This is again through RBI's LRS scheme. What has been the outward remittances in the last 5 years? They've grown 10x in the last 5 years. About 5 years back, Indians totally were remitting close to $1 billion in 2014-15, $1.3 billion. That's grown to about $18.7 billion in 2019-20. That's a huge growth, a 10x growth in 5 years. The main reason, some of the main drivers for this have been that Indians have started traveling more abroad. Indians have started sending their kids for education, first generation people going for education abroad. That's been a major category of spend. Even the investment portfolios that Indians are building, they've started building it from a global standpoint. So that's the other reason for this growth trend. Typically, if you look at most developed markets, you'll see that each investor has about 80% of his assets allocated to his domestic economy. He will have at least 15 to 20% of his assets allocated to a global economy. In domestic economy, it can be in the form of real estate investments, it can be in the form of stock market equity investments, it can be in the form of more debt-oriented or fixed income. But overall, 80% would be to the domestic economy and 20% would be to the global economy. That's been a trend across most developed markets. In the Indian context, that percentage today is less than 5%. This was also one of the main reasons why we decided to build such a platform, because it should be easy for an Indian investor to build a globally diversified portfolio. We should provide the exact platform that is needed. We should provide the exact investment instruments that are needed. That's one of the drivers for us. And we've seen a significant uptake. So if we look at the last 2 years since we launched this global investing platform, we have over 10,000 customers who have utilized this platform, remitted the funds, over $100 million in remittance that's gone through this platform. So we're seeing that people are taking this platform seriously. They've started globally diversifying their portfolio and building a portfolio which is focused on US and other global economies. But why is it that people are interested in US markets, right? Typically, whenever someone talks to us, either as a customer or as a partner, they have two questions. The first question they would ask is, if they're not already familiar with the US market, they'd ask us, why should I start investing in US markets, and why now, of course. And the second one is, once they've made up their mind they want to invest in US markets, the second question is typically, why should I use a platform like Global Investing? What are my other options, and why should I use a platform like Global Investing? I'll try to answer both these questions during the next 15-20 minutes of this webinar. So coming to why invest in US markets, typically I like to talk through numbers. So you'll see a little bit of a few slides with a few percentages and a few numbers here. The first one, the slide that's in front of you, it talks about the size of the US market. So the US market accounts for over 50% of the world's market capitalization, or over half of the world's market capitalization is sitting in the US. I follow cricket a lot as well. So typical cricketing analogy is, think of your portfolio as a cricket team you're trying to build, right? And if you didn't have access to the top 50% of the players, how good a team would you be able to build? In the same way, if you don't have access to top 50% of the world's market capitalization, how good a portfolio would you be able to build? Not very great, right? Similarly, when you're looking to build a robust portfolio, which involves equity, which involves fixed income, which involves real estate, you should look at all the options that are present to you. And which is why it's important to start building a globally diversified portfolio and start looking at US market as one of the options, because some of the world's largest companies which have a global footprint are present in this market, and it's important to have exposure to this market. One is the size of the market. The second is also the depth of the market, which is what we call as the liquidity in the exchanges. So this slide where I've listed out, the market capitalization of the stock exchanges, various stock exchanges, you see NYSE and NASDAQ on the top of the list. Each of them have close to $21 trillion of market capitalization. You compare that to the Indian markets, it's over 10 times the size of the Indian market, which is roughly about $2 trillion market cap. You compare that to any other developed market, it is 4 to 5 times the size in terms of liquidity. So it is not just the size of the market, it's the liquidity of the market or the depth of the market that makes US very attractive. The third piece is performance. Of course, when we all talk about our equity portfolio, we're not just looking at where to invest, but also the question is, how quickly can my assets grow? Because this is typically the risk component of your investment that's there. So here's a chart that sort of compares the growth of the S&P 500. Obviously, S&P 500 has outperformed most developed market indices, no doubt about that. But if you compare it with a domestic index like the Sensex that's there, that we use in India as reference, it's been at par with a market like Sensex. And you look at some of the other indices in the US market, for example, the NASDAQ composite that I've mentioned here, which is more a tech-oriented index that's there, it's far outperformed any index in the world. So it's not just a question of size of the market or the liquidity of the market, it's also a question of performance and how quickly these indices. So typically in the US market, there are 3 indices that a customer uses to measure the market. One is the S&P 500, which is the most broad-based index. The second is the NASDAQ composite, or what is called as the NASDAQ 100, which is more tech-focused. And then the third is the Dow 30, which is more of a traditional index. So you'll typically see a lot of people talk about these 3 indices. The index is nothing but a barometer of measure of how well the market is doing. The other big advantage that we have as Indians is the rupee depreciating against the US dollar. Now, this again has been a sort of secular trend if you look at it, not just in the 3 to 5 year window that's mentioned on this slide, but you extend this trend to even 8 to 10 years, you'll see that the rupee has been continuously depreciating against the dollar in the last 8 to 10 years. So that gives a good opportunity from an Indian investor standpoint to protect against this depreciation that's there. For example, there are a lot of our customers who are looking to have a dollar, let's say, dollar-based expense in the next 3 to 5 years. They may be looking to travel to the US, or they may be looking to send their kids for education to the US, or have some sort of a goal-based investing in the US market. So starting early and having a hedge against the rupee depreciation is very important and very attractive. So it's not just the performance of the index, but if you add on the rupee depreciation, then the performance gets even more enhanced. The other big trend that we see, which a lot of us on this call are familiar, is you look at some of the brand names that I've mentioned on this slide. These are all well-known household names, I could say easily, in India today, and because they're all consumer-facing brands: Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Starbucks, Google, Nike. I mean, if not all of them, we would have used at least 3 to 5 of them in the last 3 to 5 years. Each one of us would have used these brands. the beauty of it is now that we become end consumers of these brands, a lot of investors in India are now interested to buy into these brands and participate in the growth stories of these brands. And all these companies that are listed on this slide, that are mentioned on this slide, are listed in stock exchanges in the US. So through a platform like Global Investing, you can directly own shares of some of these brands or all of these brands. In fact, a platform like Global Investing, we have over 4,500 stocks and ETFs covering most of the large consumer facing brands in the US. And there's a good reason why all of these companies are listed in the US. I've been in the cross-border investment space for the last 15 years now. So I understand a little bit of this economics of this because I've also been part of a venture capital fund that used to do a lot of cross-border investment. The beauty of it is US has a very healthy venture capital and private equity funding ecosystem, which means a lot of early stage startups, a lot of early stage ideas, I would say, not even startups, but at an idea and a product stage, there is no dearth of funding, whether it is through universities, whether it is through government programs, or whether it is through private equity deals that are there, right? Given this robust funding ecosystem that exists, you will see that a lot of innovation gets funded at a very early stage, and this translates into a lot of innovative companies. Now, we've been exposed to these consumer facing brands when I say innovative companies, but trust me, if you pick any other sector, whether it is fintech, whether it is pharma or biotech, you pick any sector, US is pretty much at the cutting edge of innovation because there's a lot of funding happening. And what this also means is you'll also see a lot of high growth opportunities coming out of the US. On an average, for example, and these companies are able to leverage the public markets in the US in a much better way. One statistic that I wanted to throw out there is that on an average, it takes about 5 to 7 years for a company to go public in the US. That number is about 10 to 12 years in any other developing nation that's there. So as a retail investor, what that means is you can participate in the growth stories of these companies in a much earlier stage. For example, we all know that smaller to mid-sized companies can grow much faster than larger companies just because of the base effect, if not anything else. So this market gives you an opportunity to participate in this growth story. Of course, one has to keep in mind that, you know, when you go below just the market or index level opportunities, once you start looking at individual investment opportunity, there is always a risk involved, which is the risk involved when equity as an asset class. But having said that, there are equal number of opportunities where you can look to invest and hence diversify your portfolio. So just wanted to summarize some of the thoughts we've spoken about. We spoke about access to a larger market, which is critical. We spoke about a liquid market, which is again important from a retail investor standpoint, because at any point in time, you want to ensure liquidity basically means you have enough buyers and sellers on either side of the table whenever you want to buy or sell a stock. That's available because US has the most liquid exchanges. There are high growth opportunities. We spoke about some of them. The currency benefit is one thing that's unique to the Indian investor. Portfolio diversification, again, Manish touched upon it as a theme, saying that, you know, why one needs to look at global markets. And so this is where correlation as a statistic is very important. So if you look at the correlation between, let's say, index in the US like Dow 30, and you pick the BSE Sensex, which is the Indian benchmark index, the correlation is somewhere in the range of 0.3 to 0.4. Statistically, that will tell you that's it's a sufficiently low correlation for you to start looking at diversification. So very important to have a non-correlated asset that you're diversifying in. Otherwise, you will not be able to hedge yourselves against, let's say, some of the macro events that are happening. And the US stock market gives you that opportunity. So largely, these are the points as to why one needs to start actively looking at US markets. There's one smaller point, we'll talk about that slightly later, but just wanted to touch upon it. There is an investment instrument called ETF, or exchange traded fund, that's available in the US. Just think of it as an automated mutual fund. Just like we have mutual funds in India, the ETF tracks an underlying asset, or it can track an underlying multiple assets. It is just that it trades more like a stock than a mutual fund. So it's called an ETF, exchange traded fund. But in terms of behavior and management, it's closer to a mutual fund. So that's the huge thing that has happened in the last 5 years in the US, where close to $4 trillion of investor assets has shifted away from mutual funds into ETFs, because expense ratios are lower and ETFs have produced much better results compared to mutual funds. And that's something that people have found very attractive on the global investing platform, because whether they are ETFs which track an underlying asset like a commodity like oil, silver, gold, or they track any other global index like the European indices or the other Asian market indices that are there, it presents a great opportunity for someone to start looking at diversification. ETF is an instrument. So that's one of the other reasons why US markets have become so famous, because ETFs has taken off in a very big way in the US market. Now, why choose global investing as a platform? Typically, I talk about 3 points. Easy to use, very important. Reason being that, like I mentioned, RBI's LRS scheme has been there for the last 15-20 years. So every Indian is actually allowed to invest for the last 15-20 years. There have been a few US brokerages also, broker houses who have been present in India for the last 15-20 years, which allow you an opportunity to open an account with them and to start investing in the US market. However, people have not taken it up as a big trend except for the last 5 years that we've seen. One of the reasons has been the process has been very cumbersome. I mean, if you have to go about actually opening a brokerage account in the US, going through that whole jumps of KYC, then actually getting your funds remitted from India to US and being able to pick the right stocks, having the right advice given to you, all of that is so cumbersome that people usually give up halfway through, which is why we focused on the ease to use component of the platform when we built this out. It's a completely digital platform, which means that you can go log in right now after our webinar. Within 10 minutes, you'll be able to complete your KYC, upload your documents, and open your account. It will be sent for approval. Typically, within 24 hours, it will get approved. All of this is online. So complete onboarding experience is online. Fund remittance, HDFC has opened up the fund remittance through its net banking portal. They've made it completely online for LRS solutions. So you can actually go to your net banking solution, just like you do for an NEFT, domestic NEFT transaction. You can add your US investing account as a beneficiary, remit the funds from India savings account to your US investment account, and start investing instantaneously. So these are some of the big benefits where the whole ecosystem has now become digital. The platform that's available is digital. The fund remittance is digital. If you look at it, all the investment assets that are there, the 4,500 stocks and ETFs that I spoke about, they're all available digitally for you to buy and sell on a single click on the platform. In addition to the stocks, we also have some other features like curated portfolios. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but that's something that's interesting that a lot of our customers have asked for, and hence we've built it. But coming to the product features, more than just the platform benefits that are there, couple of things that I wanted to highlight are the fractional shares and the account insurance program that's mentioned on this slide. Again, there is a context to why I'm talking about fractional shares and account insurance program. Basically, if you look at the US market, retail investor participation is huge. Roughly about 40 to 50% of the retail market in the US participates in their public markets. In the Indian context, or for that matter, in most developing economies, it will be about 8 to 10%. Given that there is a huge retail investor participation in a market like US, it's important for the government and the regulatory bodies to have the necessary mechanisms in place to support these retail investors. I'll talk about a couple of those. One is fractional shares, for example, right? So when you talk of fractional shares, it does exactly what the name suggests. You pick a stock like Amazon today, it's at about $3,000 each individual stock of Amazon. That's about 2 lakh rupees. Now, let's say any one of us on an average, even if we are looking at a 50 lakh overall portfolio, let's say 20% of that you want to invest in US. So let's say 10 lakhs. Again, I'm quoting big numbers. We can all start off with much smaller numbers. But even if you have 10 lakhs, right? If Amazon each share is selling for 2 lakhs, all you can do is buy 5 shares of Amazon. You've exhausted your entire capital, which is why fractional shares come in very handy. With fractional shares, I can say that I want to buy $100 of Amazon. I want to buy $200 of Amazon, or I want to own 30% of an Amazon share or a Tesla share. I can say anything of that sort. And hence, even with a limited capital, you can build a diversified portfolio, because now you don't have to worry about capital constraints saying I have to own one full share of a particular symbol that's there or a particular company that's there. Fractional shares, very useful if you're looking to start with limited capital and build a diversified portfolio. Account insurance program, again, very important for a retail investor, because whenever you're talking about the US market, you're also talking about some new entities that you'll be dealing with. You'll have a new broker dealer who's executing your trades over there. You'll have a new custodian, which is Citibank or any other custodian that you choose to work with. You may have a new platform like Global Investing that you're dealing with. So important to understand how secure your assets are. So through the account insurance program, what happens is every account that's opened on the Global Investing platform is insured for $500,000. So anything that happens to your funds up to $500,000 is actually protected, and this protection is not offered by Stockle or HDFC, it is offered by the US government. It is run by a company called SIPC, Securities Investor Protection Company, which is backed by the US government. So every retail investor account is insured for $500,000. You don't have to worry about that. The third piece is curated portfolios that I wanted to talk about. Now, a lot of our customers, there was a slide where I spoke about some brands that we are aware of, like Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. These are day-to-day brands. But, once you go beyond the top 10, 20, 30 brands, we've exhausted the names. We're not very familiar with US brands or US companies and how they operate at a global scale, things like that. So which is when people started opening accounts, they started remitting the funds and they started investing. They said, I've exhausted whatever I knew about the top 20, 30 companies, but I want to build a diversified portfolio. So how do I start investing in some of the themes? How do I start investing in some other companies that I may not fully understand, but I need advice around that? That is when we launched Stacks. We call it as Stacks, the product name, which is curated portfolios. These are baskets of stocks and ETFs that a customer can go and buy on a single click. And these are managed by experts in the backend. So the customer gets a huge benefit when he invests in stacks or curated portfolios, because these are thematic portfolios. For example, electric mobility as a theme took off in the last 3 to 5 years in a big way in the US. Now, whenever someone speaks of electric mobility, people will usually talk of Tesla, or they will talk of GM or Toyota, because these are all names and brands we are again close to. We know that these are automotive manufacturing companies. But out of the 4,500 companies that I spoke about, roughly about 300 companies are impacted by this electric mobility theme, if you look at it in one way or the other. So our electric mobility stack that we built not just looks at the top 10 auto manufacturers who are impacted, but looks at companies across the value chain of electric mobility, whether it is battery technology companies, whether it is clean energy companies who are setting up the charging station ecosystem in the US and globally. So when we look at a theme, we look at it end to end across the value chain and pick and choose investment opportunities from across the value chain. So this is something that an end investor benefits from, all this research that has gone into the backend. Now, an end investor on a single click, he can go there on the platform, click on the buy button and buy this thematic portfolio. There is a minimum investment amounts, but he doesn't have to worry about anything else. All he does is goes and clicks, and on a single click, he buys this portfolio. He doesn't have to worry about buying and selling some particular shares within that, because they're automatically rebalanced. So whenever a portfolio manager or a professional fund manager in the backend decides to rebalance it, the entire portfolio of the customer also gets rebalanced automatically, and there are no entry exit loads unlike a mutual fund. It's very easy to buy and sell out of these thematic baskets that are there. So that's a big benefit, and that's a trend that we are seeing. We launched this product about 8 months back on the platform, and since then there's been a significant uptick, because now people have exhausted their options, let's say in terms of the top 10 stocks that they're holding. So they're looking at themes like this. And electric mobility is only one such theme. We have sectoral themes, like for example, the clean energy ESG baskets that are there, or healthcare related baskets that they've become a significant theme in the last year and a half for obvious reasons. The healthcare, the biotech and pharma related themes that are there. Then we have thematic baskets which are purely based on ETFs. So for example, we've tied up with a large ETF manufacturer in the US called GlobalX. And GlobalX has about $25 billion of AUM. They're large in the ETF manufacturing space. They also build portfolios or thematic portfolios based on ETFs. Just to give you an example, one such theme is millennial consumers. So now when we think of themes, we cut across different industries. We don't just think of industry. Earlier, when we were thinking of investing, we obviously thought in terms of industry silos. Now the theme cuts across all industry silos. You can readily invest in a millennial consumer theme, where any millennial consumer, what are the brands that get affected because millennial consumers are going to be the big spenders in the next decade or so? What are the brands that will get invested in, right? That is what this ETF invests. So it's as simple as that in the front of it. But there's a lot of research that goes on. There's a lot of professional fund managers in the back end who are actively managing these portfolio for you. So that's a big advantage of going through the global investing platform. You have these pre-built basket of stocks and ETFs that are available to you. I'll try to wrap up whatever I'm trying to discuss in the next maybe 5 minutes or so, and maybe have at least 20-25 minutes for Q&A. So that will be helpful. Just want to briefly touch upon the process again over here, mainly because I spoke about it so much upfront, saying that we've eased out the process, we've made it very convenient. It's a simple 3-step process. You go to the website hdfcsec.com. There is a dollar investing button there. You click on that. You register yourself with the basic details, name, email ID, phone number. That's step one. Excuse me. Step two is opening your account. So just like when you open an account in the India context, you fill in a KYC form, you fill in a simple KYC form. This is for the regulatory authorities in the US for you to do your KYC. You upload your ID and address proof, which is your Aadhaar card. And then you can remit funds through either the online way, which is through HDFC's net banking solution, or you can do it through an offline way also, where you fill in the form, you can download it, you can go to your HDFC bank branch and hand over the form yourself, or your RM can come and pick it up. It's called the form A2, which we have digitized on the platform. You can fill it on the platform, download it. All you have to do is sign it, hand it over either to your bank RM, or you can go directly to the branch, submit it. Or the third option is we've also tied up with the logistics partner. So on that form sheet itself, you'll have an option of saying, do you want to arrange for pickup? If you just select a date and time, someone will come to your doorstep, pick it up, drop it off at the bank branch. So you don't have to worry about the account remittance piece as well. Once the funds hit your account, which is typically within a 48-hour window from the time your account gets debited, within 48 hours, it will get credited to this investment account. You are all set to buy and sell stocks and ETFs on the platform. There are three pricing plans that we have to offer. I'll quickly touch upon it. There's an entry-level basic plan which doesn't have any annual subscription fee. But of course, in terms of features, it's slightly more limited because the amount of research and analysis and the stacks we provide are limited. Whereas if you open a silver or a gold account, you get access to many more research tools that are available on the platform. You get access to all the curated portfolios that we have to offer, in addition to much more lower commissions in the silver and gold option. This is all available on the platform for you to see and evaluate which is the right pricing plan for you. Typically, we see people will start off with silver if they're not sure about, because the commissions are low and it's a lower annual subscription fee compared to gold. So they start off with silver and then they decide whether they want to upgrade to a gold plan or no. But all this information is again available on the platform for you to go through. Again, the fund withdrawal, whenever you decide to withdraw funds from US to India, completely digital. On a single click, you can go click on withdraw funds button on the platform, enter the amount, bank account details you want to withdraw it to in India, and you're all done. There is a nominal $10 per withdrawal fee that's applicable. There is a nomination facility that's available, the beneficiary that you nominate for your account, that's available. In terms of investment tools, the slide mentions 3,500, but as of today, we are at over 4,500 stocks and ETFs that are available on the platform. Different sorts of features. There are historical pricing charts you can see. In the case of US market, unlike India market, the problem is actually the other way around. There is an overload of information. It's not as if there is a scarcity of information, but there's usually an overload of information that's there. Which is why one of the objectives that we've maintained is how do you curate all of this news, all of the social media feed that's coming in, and present it in an easy to understand way from a retail investor standpoint. So that's what we mean by curated news and social media feed. Analyst opinion, again, we have tied up with multiple equity research houses in the back end in the US, and we present, for example, price targets. We present, analyst consensus holdings, whether it's buy, sell, hold. And in terms of going through their research articles, that option is available on the platform. These are all premium features, so they're available to a gold customer. The option is there on the platform. There is some restrictions that you may want to note. You can't trade in futures and options. You can't do shorting. It's not a margin trading account. Again, these are all restrictions imposed by RBI. As a platform, we support all of this, but then RBI says that through his LRS scheme, you cannot do any speculative activities, which is why we have disabled these features on the platform as of now. And settlement cycle is your standard T+2 as it is in the Indian market. Just one last slide. I'll talk about taxation a little bit because a lot of customers are interested in understanding what the tax impact of this is. Again, because we've built a digital platform, you'll see there is a very detailed report section on the platform. So when you go there, you can download all your monthly account statements, your taxation related statements, your TDS confirmation statements, all of that are downloadable on the platform. But as far as treatment of taxation goes, you have to understand one thing, that there is a double tax avoidance agreement between India and US. What this means is any income that you earn in any of these geographies, they'll be taxed only in one place. They will not be double taxed. So whatever you earn in the US, if you've already paid tax there, you don't have to pay tax here in India. If you haven't paid tax for that in the US, then you pay for that in India. And capital gains and dividends work slightly differently. Dividends, there is a tax deduction at source, which has already happened in the US. You get an acknowledgement form that's downloadable on the platform, so you don't have to pay tax on that in India. Whereas for capital gains, you don't get taxed in the US at all when you buy and sell shares. So only when you file your income tax returns here in India, again, the platform gives you a detailed P&L statement and a capital gain statement that you can download and use for filing your tax returns here in India. I think that pretty much covered what I wanted to talk about in terms of global investing. One on the US market side itself, but also on the little bit of nuances on the process and the platform side, because for first-time investors that's important to understand. I think what we lose, we now open it up for Q&A quickly. So let me see if there are some questions that have come in as we are discussing this. Any specific questions that you have, please feel free to type it in the Q&A section. As of now, I don't see any questions right now.
Dear participants, for any questions, please type your questions on the question mark area. There's a question mark button on top. You can click on that and type a query on that.
Yeah, we'll give it a couple of minutes while you can get your thoughts together. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type it in. We'd be happy to share this presentation with you as well at the end of it, so you can go through it in detail at your leisure and get back if you have any questions, because we do have a helpline also. You can see it's mentioned here on the slide. It says customer success at globalinvesting.in. Yeah, I think while we are waiting for the audience to type in any questions or any queries that you may have, Fiza and Manish, if you have any questions or do you feel that we should touch upon any of these aspects, I'd be more than happy to cover it in a few minutes. So that we can...
Kumar, I wanted to actually appreciate on this piece. To be very true, I've been into the investments business from pretty decent period of time. But investing into US markets was always, as a retail customer, we were not aware about it, until 1.5 to 2 years back down the line.
Right.
We always thought that if I need to invest into international markets, I need to be a large institution who can remit my money and then park it over there, But post Stockle coming and the way Stockle has actually briefed to a retail customer has taught us about how to invest into the US markets basically. So it has been very appreciative, and I personally have a global investment account, and I personally feel the best part which I like about on this platform is the products which I use, I can be an owner of that product. So rather than just passing revenues, I can actually earn from those revenues by being by investing into those same companies. Like, we use Facebook day and night, we use Twitter day and night, we use Google, iPhones, we use all those companies. All revenues are going over there, so why not earn back my own money? So that was one good part which I personally like into this space. And the another best part is, when you talk about shares, in India, if I have to buy a share of a Maruti which is around some 39,000-40,000 rupees today, I can buy one share and I have to pay complete amount for that stuff. I can't do a fractional buying. Whereas in US markets, I feel it's good that today if Amazon is trading at $1,500 per share, to be very true, for me, a person like me, I mean, you can afford it. You are a very senior category kind of a person, so you can afford it basically. So you can buy a 1,500, but I cannot. But then I can buy 1/10 of it share. So that's very good for a retail customer, So the level of globalization which has come in, and these platforms have come open for us, I feel really nice about this piece basically. So today, actually, this is a globalization, so I can start investing into different markets of the the world basically.
I think you touched upon the two most critical points, Fiza, if I were to say about it. Because when we started off, honestly, this was the feedback, because most customers felt that, US markets, investing in global markets is meant only for a HNI sort of customer, or someone who has a lot of assets and who has some disposable assets whom he wants to park out there. They never thought of it as an active investment strategy where you can actually build a portfolio in the US markets. And that's one thing that was the perception we had to kill upfront, which we did by having features like fractional shares. Today, I'll tell you, I mentioned about 15,000 customers, right? Out of that, over 10,000 customers, the average size, if I look at it for these 10,000 customers, the average account size is somewhere around $5,000, which they've built over a period of time. So it's
That's
not in the SME category at all. They've looked to build this portfolio over a period of time by investing small amounts over, let's say, 6-month periods, 3 months period, a year period. They've looked to build a portfolio. So we've tried to democratize the whole investing process in the US market, which again, we are fighting certain perceptions. Like you said, people believe it's only for HNI customers, but I'm sure we'll be able to open that up and offer it to a larger audience. I think that's the whole agenda, and we've been able to do it. Fractional shares, extremely useful. Even I use them a lot in terms of buying and selling shares. Mainly because, see, when we think of investing, I say that I have $5,000 to invest. So I'm going to invest $1,000 here, $1,500 there. I don't start off by saying I want to own 1 share of Amazon and 2 shares of Google. We start with a dollar amount and then we start doing the percentages. So that is how fractional shares also help, saying that, if you have a dollar amount in mind, you can equally allocate it across these 4, 5, or 10 shares that are available. That helps a lot.
Sure.
So what you touched upon are the 2 most critical points. The security of the assets was one other thing that customers would typically ask us upfront. That again, we've been able to solve by saying that, there is an insurance program. It's backed by the US government, so it's completely robust. And like I said, people have invested over $100 million today. So that's the biggest validation. I can talk about it for an extra 1 hour also, but unless you see, people actually doing this and there being security in the funds, it doesn't mean anything. So which is where the whole proof of this is that people have invested over $100 million through this platform. Their funds are completely secured. People have remitted from India to US. They've withdrawn back from US to India. All that has happened on the platform. I do see a couple of questions pop up here. Let me see if I can take those. One person has asked about the commodity market. So like I mentioned, there is actually a large commodity market also in the US, because I used to run a prop trading firm which used to invest in this commodity market. So there is a huge and active commodity market in the US. However, through this platform, that route is not available, because what RBI says through his LRS scheme is you can't invest in anything speculative. So you can't buy and sell commodities directly. You can buy and sell only stocks and ETFs. However, there are ETFs which invest in commodities. So, for example, there is an ETF that tracks gold as a commodity, precious metal, gold, silver, copper, or which tracks oil as an underlying asset. So you could invest through the ETF route and still benefit from the upside of the commodity market if you're using the global investing platform. I think the second question is, how safe is it to invest in the US market? So, for example, let me just explain risk factors. That's what they mentioned. Okay, so I'll tell you this upfront. The way you should think about risk is not think about risk at a market level. You should think about risk at an asset class level or asset category level. So when you have your 100 rupees to invest, say that you want capital preservation is your theme, right? Then you want to invest 60 rupees in something where your capital is going to be preserved. There is no downside of capital going away. Equities is a slightly more risky asset class in general, whether it is Indian equities, US equities, or Europe equities, it doesn't matter. So that is how you should think about it. In terms of within the asset class of equities itself, if you compare US versus Europe versus India, or typically the way investors look at it is developed markets versus developing markets. If you look at it, there are 2 traits of developed markets, that growth rates will typically be slower, mainly because they've already grown in the last 30-40 years at a very healthy pace. The second trait will be volatility will also be lower, and typically one associates this with volatility. Volatility means how quickly they can move, how quickly they can go up and down. And nobody wants to see that, right? Nobody wants to wake up and see a 10% down market or a 10% up market for that. Everyone loves a 10% up market, but people also don't understand that, with a risk of a 10% up market, there is also a 10% down market, which we don't want to see. But that is the risk associated with this asset class. So think of it this way. if you have 100 rupees to invest, let's say you are, in a mid-career stage of your life, so you've set aside 50 to 60% of your assets in growth-based themes. So you want to invest, let's say 50, 60 rupees out of that in equity, right? Then out of your equity allocation, you should have at least 80% to your domestic market, 20% to your global markets. That's how you should think about it. Invest heavily in the market that you're residing in, but at the same time, from a de-risking standpoint, today everything is global in nature. We saw, for example, in the lockdown that happened in the last 18 months, right? There were certain US companies that benefited a lot. You speak about Amazon, for example, right? None of us could go to the stores and buy anything physically. So most of the deliveries happened to our house. So there was a big uptick in that sense, right? So some of these global companies will benefit even when the overall economy may not be doing well. So there is always a risk over there. For example, some of the healthcare and pharma stocks did very well because that was the need of the hour in the last 2 years or so. So think of it that way. Think of equity as an asset class being the risk, whatever it is. Think of US market as at least 20% of your overall allocation. And within the market, there are two ways to do it. Invest in ETFs, which are at an index level. So you will de-risk at that level. So overall, S&P 500 has 500 stocks. So it covers all the sectors. So you're de-risk at that level. But at the same time, when you're looking at a market like US, don't miss out on the high growth opportunities. Always have an allocation to high growth opportunities. It's the hotbed of innovation. You have a lot of innovative tech, non-tech companies coming out of that, and we all want to participate. So Netflix stock has grown 4,000% in the last 10 years. Everyone loves to participate in those growth stories, right? Tesla has been a great growth story. Apple has been a great growth story. Everyone, all of us love to participate, but we have to understand that there is a risk associated with it. So stock picking always has a risk. No one in this world, I can say that confidently. You take any investor name in this one, no one has mastered the art of stock picking. So whenever you pick 10 stocks, there will be a chance that 4 of them may not do well, 6 of them may do well. There is always a risk with stock picking. Don't forget that. Which is why invest in ETFs, which are at an index level. Invest in individual stocks also. That's what is finally going to give you the upside. So you have to place that bet at some point, but do it with a 1%, 20% of your assets. Don't invest the entire 100 into equity and hope that it does well. That would be my advice in terms of risk management. I'll just move on to the next question. I think there's someone who's probably linking it to the previous question. They're saying that many customers have asked about this. I assume you're referring to your question around commodity markets. Well, commodity markets, like I said, there will always be gold, for example, is considered a hedge to equity markets. So if you're looking at building a hedge, you can look at investing in an ETF which tracks the S&P 500 and hedge it against the ETF which tracks gold as an underlying commodity. So these are some of the investments that you can place as far as commodity market goes. One needs to have their own approach, by the way. I mean, I would say it's very scary, first of all, if you get investment advice over a webinar saying pick this specific stock or investing in a specific ETF without understanding your risk profile or what is the goal that you're looking to build on. What I can do is present to you the opportunity, say what are the options that are available to you, what are the upsides, downside of this. But finally, you should get in touch with your relationship manager at the bank or with someone who's advising you around your specific risk in order to utilize this opportunity. So that's the whole agenda behind this call, is to sort of expose you to this opportunity. Say this is also now available with HDFC Bank and with HDFC Securities, but you should definitely talk to your relationship manager or someone who's advising you on the risk side, on investment sides. Talk to them about this opportunity and say what percentage of your assets you need to start investing in this. So I think that's pretty much answered the couple of questions that we have here. Like I said, it's not as if it's going to be restricted to this 1 hour. So if you have any follow-up questions, we'd be happy. If you write into the customer success line or if you reach out to any of us, we'd be more than happy to answer this.
Kumar, just a quick query. While I was speaking to a few of your, one downs basically last few days back, I was also even to understand right now we are in US markets right now, but we are planning to expand into different markets of the world even, right? Are we working on such platforms and the approvals from the RBI?
Absolutely. So the idea is that because RBI's LRA scheme allows you to remit that $250,000 anywhere in the world, they don't restrict it to US.
True.
However, when we did our market research about 2 years back, the reason we went with US first is that market research suggested that over 80% of the audience wanted to start with US for obvious reasons. The most innovative companies
Yeah.
are coming out of US. US is the largest public market. We just saw that NYSE and Nasdaq have $21 trillion of market cap each, which is more than 10 times the size of most global markets. So everyone wants to start with the US because it's always the 80-20 rule. 80% of the opportunities are there, but there are always smaller opportunities which are going to be there in other global markets. We are actively working towards that. So I can assure you that if not in the coming quarter, then in at least 6 months from now, we will have other global markets on the platform. So there are two things we are expanding across as a platform. One is the geographical reach. So US first, then we will do European markets, then we will do other Asian markets, more developed Asian markets. That's the way to go about it. The second is the diversification across product categories. So we started off with stocks and ETFs first. Then we started by introducing curated portfolios, which are stacks. Now we will have some really innovative portfolios, which are fractional bonds, for example. That's an instrument that we're looking at very actively. We're planning to launch a cash management account fairly soon. Again, I don't have timelines for any of these from a product standpoint, but these are all in discussion stages where we know exactly what we want to launch. It is just a question of getting together those bits and pieces so we can start offering it. So we'll also expand across product categories in addition to geography. So full-fledged, if you look at this platform, it should be your one-stop shop for building anything outside of the Indian market. Anything that you're looking at globally, you should be able to get it on this platform. That's our goal.
That's nice. That will be a value-added advantage for all the investors or all the customers who are usually using this Stockholm platform for their investments, diversifying their portfolios and investments. I mean, that's very nice. That's a good update. In fact, I'm sure a lot of our investors would love to, and they would be waiting to watch, to see the other diversifying funds into other markets also, basically, where they use different routes, basically. So it will be a one-stop shop for everything, in fact, for them. So, any more questions which has popped up?
No, I haven't seen any new questions that we haven't answered yet.
Fair enough. So we taken a detailed kind of a stuff, and Kumar, it was a great insight, and I'm sure our listeners would have loved about it. And we will be doing some more sessions in over a period of time for the different set of customers and on demand, basically. So thank you for joining, having us over here, and guiding us on the US markets, basically, specifically to our investors. And to audience, I heartily thank you for joining us and hearing this out on this piece. And I'm sure this will be a value-added session for all of y'all. And if anybody of y'all wish to invest or want to know more details about these kind of stuff, please just leave us a message on your chat box, in the chat box in a question mark, and we will connect back to you and on your phone numbers, and then we can have one-on-one detailed discussion on this piece. Thank you so much, Kumar, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Fiza, for having me. Bye.